Center every second and fourth Tuesday of each month. I join this man here, Chef Michael Carnahan, Senior Culinary Educator of the Mobile Education Kitchen at the Medical Center, and we bring to you diabetes-friendly recipes. And we're always excited about the recipes we bring to you. Today is part 1 of 2. We're going to show you how to make a vegetable stock that then you can use in soups that might get you through the cold months that still remain, or cold weeks. I hope it's weeks and not months. And then when we come back in March 11th, we're going to be showing you how to use those stocks in other methods like braising and poaching and various other things. So we hope you'll stay tuned. And before March 11th, try to make this delicious vegetable stock. And this is where we're going to start. Mike's going to start us off on the stock. And as we go through the demo today, be on the lookout in the chat. Is that where you look for it? Pam is with us and she's at the ready. We're going to play, is this myth or is this fact? And we're going to be reviewing some of the American Heart Association myths and facts for Heart Health Month, which February is. So I hope you enjoy that and participate in that, and we'll talk about that as we go through the demo. So, Chef Mike.
All right, well, welcome everyone. So we're going to start out with just doing a basic vegetable stock. This is where we can gather a lot of these vegetables that we're not using for the week. A lot of times if you have the carrots, the extra celery, the onions, the mirepoix, we call that carrot, celery, and onions. If you have all those ingredients left over and you want to start a broth or a soup base, this is a good place to start it. So we're starting with just a big stock pot, and we're going to do our normal mirepoix. And a mirepoix is 50% onions, 25% carrots, and 25% celery. So we're going to get this going with a little saute with just a little bit of olive oil to start us off. My pan is turned on, it's a little warm. We're going to get all of the essentials in here, and even the ends of the onion are good to put in here. If we have any scraps, we had a place in the recipe called scraps. So if you have leftover pieces of zucchini, parsnips, I wouldn't put potatoes in here as much, but if you have leftover veggies that you want to put in here, get those in here. We have the chunk carrots, and I just washed the carrots and left the skin on there where some of that good vitamins and minerals stay. So we left those in there. We're going to saute some of those. We got a little piece of leftover yellow squash, so we're going to chop this up in hunks.
Mike, are there any vegetables off limits besides starchy potatoes?
Some vegetables like fennel are just they overtake the flavor of this. So we want to keep it kind of mild.
I was thinking of fennel.
Yeah, so keep it mild. Whatever you have, like most of the fresh vegetable peppers are good if you don't overload it with peppers. I mean, they give it a little earthy flavor, but sometimes you don't want to overload it with peppers.
Now, are you doing this so that you start caramelizing with another flavors or softening?
So we're going to sweat this a little bit. We're not so much going to caramelize it. If you want a darker, sweeter kind of broth, you can certainly caramelize this and let it cook down and look like a French onion soup. And that would bring out some darker, deeper, earthier tones. But this one, we want to make it so it's like just a normal, flavorful broth without overpowering the onions and the sweetness those onions bring when you caramelize them. So we're just going to sweat these for a few minutes. We have all of our mirepoix, all of our stock in here, all of our scraps. In professional kitchens, a lot of times they keep all of the carrot peels, they keep all of the celery twigs, all the ends, and they use this as a broth to use for different stuff, for different soup bases, for different sauces, for different applications. It's really nice to have that on hand where you don't have to buy it, and you can actually control the sodium in this too. So there's all kinds of veggie broths you can buy out there on the market, but this is one way to control, one, the flavor, and two, the sodium. So here we are with this. We're going to add just a little bit of diced tomatoes for a little acid, not a whole lot. If you don't want to use diced tomatoes, you can use just a little bit of tomato paste.
And you don't have to use salt.
You don't have to use salt. Yeah, this is actually a no sugar added, no salt added tomato. A little garlic, not a lot of garlic, but a little bit will bring out some flavors.
What do you call that?
I call this garlic because I didn't chop it myself. It's from the jar, but she's got fresh garlic over here. We usually do have the fresh stuff. And then we're going to add a couple bay leaves. This is a normal stock. And then we're going to add our water.
Mike, can you tell us the difference between stocked broths and bone broth?
Okay, so bone broth is usually cooked for a long period of time because it draws out that ligament base gelatin. In the bone broth, it has a lot more nutrients in there from the collagen and everything that you're drawing out of those bones. It's a little different flavor it doesn't have the the veggie flavor in there at all. And then a broth is what chefs consider more of it has more meat drippings in it. So if you're doing like an oven roast and you have all that meat drippings and stuff there, that would be considered a broth because it came right off of the meat. Typically, stocks are made with bones and not a lot of meat. But if you have it where you're adding a bunch of meat to it, we would classify that more as a broth than we would a stock. So, and then, once you have you ever heard of the julienne, which is a broth off of a meat that's thickened with cornstarch, it's kind of a little sauce. But we call that a julienne. Okay, so this is all ready to go. It's going to simmer for about 2 hours. We have one brewing in the back. We're going to add a little fresh parsley to this too. I have a nice big bunch of parsley that we're just going to lay on the top of this and let it simmer. And then just for a little flavor too, a little fresh thyme.
And I want to tell everybody out there, when I walked in here, of course, Mike's got a pot back here that's ready to go. The smell in here is amazing. Maybe sometimes you think of vegetable broth and you think, not much flavor, whatever. It depends on the care that you take of it, the ingredients that you put in it. It smells amazing.
Good ingredients in, good ingredients out. I mean, a lot of people make this from scratch just to have it for a soup or a broth or different application. And this works well. I mean, once we strain this and keep all the veggies out, or as Jenny recommended, you can puree this and have a really nice vegetable pureed soup as well. But we're going to strain all this out and use the stock liquid for different applications. Like today, we're doing a noodle bowl with that. We're going to show you how to do that. So this is going to simmer for about 2 hours. I'll bring my other one out that's been simmering for a while. And Jenny's going to take over and show you guys how we're going to use this in a different application.
Yeah, and I also want to mention here that I love that you chose to do vegetable stock today because I think it's one of the easier stocks.
This is one of the easiest, yeah.
You don't have to worry about, does it look like temperature and the impurities from the skin and the bones and
you don't have to worry about all that
stuff. Because if you've ever made like chicken stock at home, I used to make it. I couldn't figure out why it turned out cloudy and greasy. And I just thought, I'm never doing that. Well, then I realized I took my time and actually took a course on how to make stocks, broths, and yada, yada. And it is an art, and you have to be patient and you have to have time. But this one cuts the time and it's so healthy for you. Another thing about the bone broth, of course, is going to have increased protein. So if you're looking for ways to get increased protein in your diet and not have a huge volume, that might be the way to go. But I will tell you this, making bone broth is labor intensive, it's expensive, and if you get bone broth in the store, you might think it's expensive, $13 or something a quart, but I bet it's worth the time and effort from home. What do you think?
It's flavorful. I mean, they're taking all that labor out for you.
Yeah.
And
the mess and the cleanup.
And the mess and the cleanup.
Yeah.
But it is nice to know how to make it.
All right.
If you're gonna make it.
So we're gonna take this just delicious, healthy stock that Mike has made, and we're gonna make the vegetable miso noodle soup. And when I read this, I went, oh, it's like pho. So we've got these beautiful ingredients. Mike has already chopped up some of the bok choy. I'm just gonna chop up the rest of it. Real easy, rough chop. Get this over here. We've got some carrots, and as Mike said, when we prepare the vegetables for this, we want them to be thin so that it cooks really quickly. So you spend a little extra time doing your vegetable broth, maybe on the weekend or a day you have off. Maybe you prep your veggies, and then when you come home at night, this has been a theme we've been talking about. How do we get dinner on the table quickly? Then you just throw everything together. So there are the carrots. We've got green onion. We've got mushroom. I'll just put these up.
Even 10 minutes on a soup is not a whole lot of effort. I mean, all this is, there's less than a cup of ingredients for each one of these. So 5-10 minutes, you could have all this chopped relatively quickly. If you're veggie stock is already made the day ahead of time, really easy, or you could use prepared stocks. But watch on those stocks, a lot of them do have high sodium. There are lower sodium stocks out there available. And even if you're using bases to make your own stocks, I mean, we think that's important too. But you should look and see how much sodium is in those bases because you can't get them low sodium now. They're making a huge
Did I get
difference.
the hair on your arms?
Not yet.
That was a close one. Okay, I should have started this before, but this is heating up. We're gonna start with a hot pan and then we're gonna add oil to that. Not all of this, all of that, just a tablespoon. We'll let that heat up. And you can do this in a Dutch oven, whatever you feel comfortable with. I do like something with some sides, otherwise everything gets really messy.
I did a short one today so you guys can see it really well. But yeah, like a stock top would be better for this.
Let that get going. And then I'm gonna add the bok choy and the carrots to this. I'm just gonna line it up all and give that a little bit of chance to get going. And then we're gonna stir that up and I'm gonna add the mushrooms right away. So we'll go ahead for sake of time. I get so into watching and listening to what you're doing that I forget that I have to do a few things to kick it over to me. Okay. Oh, we're only doing half of
No,
that.
you can do a little batch.
Oh, okay. All right, so bok choy and carrots go in. I'm gonna give those a little bit of a stir, coat them in oil, are sizzling. These burners are awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
Don't put the stem in there, Mike. I think
You chopped it.
it was totally me. Okay, there we go.
So this is
That's
open
how
for a lot of different suggestions in here too. In this noodle bowl, this is kind of like making all kinds of different noodle bowls with different veggies and stuff. whatever you
Yeah.
have.
And I'm already so happy about this because of the bright colors. I don't know, you eat with your eyes first. It just looks great. The idea of making something quick that's healthy, that's my jam.
Maybe a little red pepper. Maybe a little red pepper.
All right.
Nevertheless, it's gonna be delicious.
I'm gonna add the mushrooms and then I wonder if we have any of our questions out yet.
Let's do the first one. All right, everybody, I just sent it out, and the question is, most Americans, or the statement is, most Americans get over 3,500 milligrams of sodium each day. Now, do you all believe that's a myth or a fact? Looks like 100% of people are saying that that is a fact.
There's such a sharp audience
Yeah.
out there. Yeah. And it is a fact. Right. So 2,400 milligrams is about a teaspoon of salt. That's about the end of your thumb, maybe less. And the recommendation really is if you can get it as low as 1,500. But here's the thing. These vegetables have sodium in them. So it can be a really hard thing to understand how much you've got. So if you've got a package that actually tells you the quantity and the amount of sodium, you can start adding it up in your head. All right, so I've got the mushrooms, the carrots, the bok choy. Getting a little bit brown.
Smelling wonderful.
It does smell good. Okay, and to this I'm adding green onion and the garlic, and I might turn it down.
Where's that garlic? Okay, so
Let's start
we're
with
doing
that.
ginger and garlic
It's
today.
not garlic.
It's not garlic. This is the real stuff.
And then Mike was really kind to already chop up the ginger. He did a super nice mince on the fresh ginger. And if you've been on before and we've used ginger, you've heard my hacking Cameron tack for ginger. I keep this guy in a Ziploc bag in the freezer. And then when I want it, I take my microplane and I just microplane the whole thing. I don't skin it at all. The skin just disappears when you cook. And I also don't get chunks of ginger. Thank you for turning that down just a little.
There's a lot of
Like that garlic.
choices out there with ginger now. I mean, they have ginger in the jar like garlic.
So don't give it away. Pam, what's your hack?
My hack about the frozen.
The ginger, yeah.
Yes, yeah, they make, so you can use your ice cream tray and make, little, like, pop out. So you can make little squares of minced ginger or minced garlic that's ready to go, you can pop it out. They also sell that in the, freezer section as well, the little squares of frozen ginger. and frozen
Yeah.
garlic.
And purees. They have purees now in the squeeze tube, which is great because it's fresh ginger. I mean, you're not getting the dried ginger. That's sesame to finish.
Oh, okay. Mike was trying to tell me, we could go to stir, Mike?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mike was trying to tell me something on the fly and. So,
Totally threw her off track over here.
all right, so we've got, all these aromatics in there. We've got the gochujang, which will give it a little bit of a kick, and Mike's just making sure that everything is coated. And now we're ready to put the stock in. Is that right?
Yeah, so we strained our batch of stock. We strained it from all of the cooked veggies. And we're gonna use this, stock in our soup today.
Will you do the honors of putting the stock in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and then I'm also gonna add the miso paste. It's the miso paste that's adding the sodium to this. So you don't have to use as much as we called for. You can scale that back. Boy, that was loud. I was yelling.
You were yelling right in my ear.
Right in your ear. Okay. Mike's giving that a stir for me. I'm gonna check my ingredients here. Some pepper, and I'm gonna leave the salt out because I think we could add that in at the end if we wanted to.
I didn't even bring it.
No pepper. It's
We
there,
have
but you
pepper.
don't have to use it. Salt and pepper is always sort of a to taste an option. Very rarely, I think if somebody is saying, make sure you put that black pepper in there, and if they do, they're actually going to say that. This is
You want a little
beautiful,
black pepper in it?
and it smells amazing.
You want a little black pepper in it?
Yeah, I love black pepper. I really like it. Okay. So where are we here? We're gonna cover and simmer this, sort of. We're gonna skip ahead, you guys, because it doesn't take long and everything's cut thinly. And then when we're happy with it and the way it tastes, we're gonna remove it from the heat. We'll finish it with some sesame oil. Oh, here's my tasting.
You gonna taste it? Make sure it's good.
I am. Even though you're right here and you made it, probably good.
I can tell it's gonna be good just looking at it. Have all those aromatics in there. And all the ginger and the garlic, and little miso in there. I mean, there's all good ingredients in
You
there.
must make it.
You gotta
This is
try it.
So delicious. This would not taste this way if we had gotten a box of vegetable stock from the grocery store.
No.
It just would not. It's so fresh that I can't even explain the flavor.
And it's a good way to use up all your veggies. So at the end of the week, this is a nice Saturday soup. Throw in all your veggies, start fresh on Sunday. You're grocery shopping, get all these veggies out of your fridge, the carrots, the celery, the onions.
Yeah.
Your fresh herbs, throw them in there.
Now let's talk about some of these ingredients. This is not your low end soup for sure. There's some ingredients here that if you don't shop around, then you could have a pretty expensive soup. So the things like gochujang and miso, I find that Trader Joe's has some of the best prices in town for that kind of thing. I always peruse the Asian section of the markets to see if there are things on sale. And I just grab them up because they keep in your pantry for quite a while. Miso, depending on the brand, not so much, but just watch out for that. The thing we want to talk about here is what affects blood sugar. It's not all these nice non-starchy veggies. It's not the stock. What it is the noodles, if you decide to use them. Now, when we eat noodles, we're always talking about quantity. So about a third cup of cooked noodles is going to have about 15 grams of carbohydrates. But what we also want to remember is that if we know how our blood sugar reacts to these simple carbohydrates like noodles and white rice and white bread, then we're going to be able to decide how much of that noodle we want regardless of the total carbohydrates. But a third cup is a good place to start. Now, Mike has gotten 2 noodles for us. There are just tons and tons of noodles that you could use. Use what you like. Today, we have an udon noodle, which is this package here, this thicker noodle. And we have a thin rice noodle. So whatever you like, you can get. I would try buckwheat. So soba
noodles.
Buckwheat might be a little bit more forgiving to blood sugar. And Cameron said that when she ran the nutrition label, she used ramen noodles. Ramen noodles, we decided, might have a little bit more fat than these noodles. These noodles don't have any fat. So really have to be a nutrition label sleuth when you pick your noodle. And guess what? You don't even need a noodle. If you like noodles, add them, but if you don't, leave them out. I think you'll be super happy.
Yeah,
with
this
it.
is a great sipping broth either way. You have noodles or you don't. I mean, you're gonna love this anyway.
So which noodle would you like?
So whatever you want to make,
All right.
put one of them with just the broth so they can see all the
Okay.
fancy stuff in there. Because just the broth itself with all the veggies in there is quite
with the
attractive.
veggies?
Yeah.
So if we just want a nice warming broth,
Choose sesame.
What?
Sesame.
no, but do it drizzle it
You
here.
can do it there or in the pan if you like sesame.
Yeah, so we'll do a
That's
little bit of
probably-
sesame. Ah,
A little,
thanks
we're gonna
guys.
just finish it with a little bit of sesame oil. If you want it, you can. You can put it in the whole thing or just drizzle it on your little bowl.
There is my messy bowl, of just the broth. And then if you want to use noodles, we don't have a measuring, this is about half a cup. So that's about a third cup of noodles. And then as much of this as we want. Carrots in there. So pretty.
Any other questions coming through here we can answer?
Could you show us what the gochujang was? Somebody had a
Yes.
question with the red paste.
Okay. So this happens to be one of those high-end brands, you know, we, there's limited time to go shopping before the demo. And sometimes you get what you get and you don't grow fit. But this is what it looks like and that's how you spell it. I don't know if maybe you could put it in the chat.
It's spicy, right? So it adds a little bit of spice.
Yes, it is, and there's many different kinds of this. So, I mean, you can try different varieties, different people's, different brands of this and have different spice level, different acid level. There's just really just a whole bunch of other varieties of this as
Yeah,
well.
and what I notice about this one is there's carbohydrate in this. So make sure you look at the gochujang that you want and you notice how many carbohydrates in there. It's not gonna affect this too much, but it is a consideration. And like I said, Trader Joe's, it's a really inexpensive one. Now, at my house, we did a side by side. We had gochujang and we had sriracha. And I forget what we were eating. It was some kind of noodle. My daughter and I did a taste test. And we each sampled the noodles and then we said, which one do you find spicy? I found the sriracha spicy. And I found the gochujang very mild and hardly with heat. Just this really nice flavor of fermented chili. My daughter was the exact opposite. So try it out. I would start with an expensive one if you haven't tried it yet. All right, so here are the rice noodles, really pretty. And both of these noodles here are made with rice flour. So we know that blood sugar will probably react quite quickly to that. So if you don't care about the noodles, don't put them in. Ooh, these are fun. They kind of rise to the top. All right. So 3 examples of that delicious noodle bowl, but one not a noodle bowl.
Still a good, nice sipping broth, lots of good veggies in it. You're gonna love it. Hope you give it a try.
Yeah.
Do you want to do another myth?
Let's do another myth.
Have a couple minutes. All right. Sea salt has less sodium than table salt. That's a myth or a fact?
We'll give you I'm gonna garnish this soup. Some spring onions.
Right, so from our initial responses, it looks like we're having some disagreement here. So about 64% of people say that that is a myth, that sea salt does not have less sodium than table salt. 36% say that's a fact.
Yeah.
I think,
So confusing.
yeah, that's kind of confusing. We might have stumped.
Yeah, we have. We definitely have. Same amount of sodium in sea salt and table salt. I think, you know, sometimes people say, well, I really like the minerals that come from a certain salt. And I would argue that if you're eating enough of that salt to benefit from the minerals that are in it, that we need to have a discussion, which I'm happy to do. I would love to see you in person. There are different size of salt crystals. So table salt is very tiny And so a tablespoon of table salt has 2,400 milligrams. But if I used kosher salt, which is larger crystals, then there wouldn't be as much sodium in that same teaspoon. So thinking about that. Did I answer the question?
Flaky sea salt.
So,
Or flaky sea salt, right? Sea salt tends to be bigger.
yeah, so a teaspoon of kosher salt or a larger crystal has less sodium than a teaspoon of table
Right.
salt. Yes, perfect. Hey, do we want to do another one or?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. If you want to hang around,
Stick around, we have 3 more.
I'm not super hungry.
Okay, if I don't use my salt shaker, then I do not eat too much sodium. Is that a myth or a fact?
Yeah, I tell people all the time, just get rid of your salt shaker. That's not all you got to do, right?
Seems like everyone's on the same page.
Okay.
That would be a myth.
That would be a myth. So yes, if you use a salt shaker and you get rid of it, then you are decreasing your sodium probably. But if you happen to be somebody who doesn't like to cook, you're eating convenience foods, foods that we would call ultra processed, then you are probably eating just as much as if somebody homemade something and added salt to at the table.
Yeah.
So really looking at those labels and understanding. I just did a whole deep dive on bone broth. And I lined them all up and I looked at serving size and I looked at protein content and I looked at sodium. And sometimes the sodium is double or triple what it is in the opposing brand. Protein's kind of the same way. It's kind of like you buy what you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
You could buy a bone broth that has 9 grams of protein per cup, and then there's one out there that's got 15 or even 18. That really got to check out that label when you're looking at already made broths in the grocery store.
But the bottom line is just being aware where you're eating that sodium at, or looking at labels and see where you're getting most of that sodium from.
And my husband went to the store for me, and I asked him to get these 2 brands of bone broth, and he came home and he said, "Look at the label; it's not what you told me it would be." And it depends on brand to brand, but also flavor to flavor. So looking at every single one, you might want to take a little bit of time and make sure you're getting what you think you're getting in that already purchased stock. Because I'll tell you, I'm not going to stop buying stock at the store. It's kind of like my canned green beans. I like to have them in the pantry on hand.
Or you can make your own.
Yeah, I could make my own. I'm not a wizard, Mike.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while, yes, I keep it in the freezer and then I can be ready.
All right, next one is produce like lettuce and apples have no sodium. Is that a myth or a fact?
People are quick, aren't they? Look at this.
Yeah, we're getting.
This is the last one, because I really want to.
Yeah, okay, look at this one, last one.
She's salivating over here.
So we have 79% say myth, 21% say fact.
Yeah, so what was the question again?
Produce like lettuce
yeah,
and
right.
apples have no sodium.
Yeah. So it is kind of hard to know this because produce doesn't tend to have labels. But if it grew from the earth, then it's got sodium. The earth has sodium and our produce takes from the earth that which is in it. It's very low, very low. So your bag of spinach, it's got sodium in it. But it's nothing to be afraid of. We need sodium in our body every day for instance, our heart to work the way it needs to. It's just that we don't need more than what we typically find in our foods. Now, there are people, a select number of people out there who really do need to watch their sodium and sometimes be intentional about getting enough sodium. But that is not the average American. All right, we're good. Thank you so much for joining us for our last Heart Healthy demo in February. We'll be back in March. And in fact, these 2 lovely people are going to take a break from the demo and I'll be at home just like the olden days and coming at you with some of this stock and how you might use it in methods other than preparing soup. Thanks for joining us.